Good morning, everyone. And again, you're listening and Knowledge Empowers. With you today is me, Kat, 안녕하세요. Then we have Baruch,
Hello.
and we have Kolaj.
Dobre ráno.
In I'm not sure if it's the previous podcast or the one before, we were talking about toxic people. And today we gonna switch to the other side, the influencers, but in a positive way. And Baruch, I believe you already have like some questions, so let's hit it.
Yeah, my question is like, if you were to choose, or if you think about one person that influenced your past or professional life the most, how would you describe them? Or what made you like let them influence you?
The one is sitting here with us. I mean, sitting.
Hello,
he's on
Kolaj.
he's on the other side of the Zoom.
So what made you actually like let him influence you?
That's interesting because it started that I was his mentor, and then it sort of, I don't know, in about 2-3 years, it sort of switched. He became sort of my mentor because Kolaj started working on his skills pretty hard, and he joined other, let's say, groups or like Otvorena hra, etc. And he really enlarged his knowledge. And because we have the passion for psychology, and he started sharing with me really interesting information that, because I'm too busy, there is no way for me to do any research or anything, that he just started really filling me with very valuable information. And I either bought the book, or if he shared the video with me, I watched it, and then we start talking about it, discuss it, etc. And I saw that every time whatever he shared with me literally moved my like perspectives, or I got better understandings. So I saw that whatever he shared with me positively influenced me by grasping or understanding, or many times it's like also just a simple fact such as I need to prepare my goals for upcoming year, but I don't want to discuss this with my manager because I want to be prepared when I go to call with my manager. Kolaj, can we have a call? And because we know each other, it helps me also to discuss this with him, because he's rather asking me lots of questions than actually giving me answers. But just because he's asking me questions, it helps me to focus or realize area that I want to focus or become better, or the skills I want to either enlarge or make them better. And so he's one of those people that I like to have in my surroundings, because I know his knowledge is big and I want to steal as much from his knowledge as possible.
So you would say it's knowledge that made you influence you?
In Kolaj's perspective, his knowledge and his personality. I like his personality. It needs to be like, it's giving me hearts. It needs to be both, like, because you have people who have knowledge. Like I went on the forensic psychology sessions, and there was this psychologist with lots of titles before his name, after his name, but he's a really big chauvinist, or that's the way he talks. I could sit there and listen whatever he shared, but for me it was just that, I would never go to him personally, because honestly, he's just an asshole. I'm sorry, that's the way he behaves, and that's not interesting for me at all. I was glad I was able now to take pictures of numerous books to have again sources, but that's about it. Whereas you need to have that personality that you tend to also incline to, like, with college, he's funny and he's good guy, etc. We know each other for years, and even if we tease each other, it's fun. It's not like he wants to shame me or I want to shame him. So you need to have that personality level as well.
For me, I would start from a different perspective because the first person who influenced my career are my parents. Although my father wasn't there to influence me on my career, he was influencing my career. And we were, and I was on a like 4-day training, psychological training, where we were discovering how our families worked when we were at age 7, and what rules we've had, what role models we've had, what are the guiding lines, what the all this stuff actually was there at your age at 7, about 5 to age, between the age 5 and 7, and how it formed out your leadership. And the topic was that every one of us is a leader or an influencer in a way, because the definition of a leadership was that the leader is a person who influences other people or processes through his acting. So I believe that everybody is a leader, and that's why our childhood influences who we are and how we influence others. And these actually brought me to the forward, or I saw really clearly how my parents influenced my career, how they shaped me, how they formed me into the person I am, and not just in a positive way, but also in negative ways, in both, of course. And that actually brought me this awareness to change it then, so how I want to, okay, so this is how I grew up, and a decision is now up to me how I want to go forward with that. So I believe that influencers and other people who are like really influencing us the most are when we are really tiny, small there, back back in the childhood.
So there are influencers that you don't choose, basically.
Yep, basically, yep.
But we were talking about positive way. So can you actually say what positive way your parents influenced you?
Well, in multiple ways. I don't have my papers here with me to read it
with
out.
a list.
Yeah, with a list. But they totally learned me about respect, about that cooperation, that it's good to cooperate and good to trust people, that we should trust those. Also, that there are certain authorities and you should listen to those, whether it's your own morale or ethics, or whether it's like something bigger, or whether it's just like elderly people, you help them because it's good. So through these things, plus and all these actually shape the values you have, so you carry those with you forward, and you then influence other people. So that's the positive influencing, I would say.
So would you say that there is a difference between the influencers you choose and the influencers that influence you no matter what, just because they're around you? Like, do you think the impact that they have is different?
I don't know how it works, but if we go back when we were, let's say, teenagers, did you guys had around you a group of people that smoke?
Yes.
And did they offer you have a cigarette?
Yes.
Did you smoke?
Yes.
How come you are still not smoker?
That's a good question, because I always thought it's a bit stupid, like useless. Like it has no benefit at all.
For me, my parents were heavy smokers. So my entire childhood, it was smoking in the house. When I was teenager, always the group of people around me smoke. And of course I tried, right? And especially if you would see the way my mom used to smoke, it was like in my head, the image was, when I'll be adult, I want to smoke, because the way she was really smoking so elegant. She even used that filter to a cigarette.
Mhm.
And the way I remember Sunday, she polished her nails. So, and she had much longer nails than I have, the cigarette. And the way she was smoking, it was so elegant. I was like, when I'll be big, I'll be, But funny enough, I did try the cigarette and I coughed like almost my lungs just, were spit out. But that's about it. And I never became a smoker. And funny enough that even though people around me were smoking, I was never tended, now I become one.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or there is a pressure. I never even felt that there is a pressure. But was I like trying to think back whether I was thinking whether I've made that choice of not becoming a smoker, but it was more of, it sort of stink to me. So I'm like, ugh.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then I had to wash the hair and the clothes, and I smelled like ashtray. Ugh.
Yeah.
So actually, we are the one making the choice that even though you are surrounded, let's say, either with negative people or people who are doing negative things, the choice is always up to you, whether you want to
That's it.
follow
Yeah.
that path or you want to follow the other path. And it's all about, maybe you don't even need to search for a positive influencer. It's just that you open your mind, because the positive people, that they are there, you are just not realizing it. And
Mhm.
sometimes you really meet very interesting people, and it's just a matter of reaching out to these people and ask them, can we go for coffee, can we whatever. And no matter on what position they are on, it's just that that person interests you, go and approach that person.
Kolaj, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, a few things. And now I forgot everything. So, yeah, if we have the choice, I believe that sometimes we don't have a choice, and we follow them, like,
Subconsciously?
yeah, consciously. Like, I don't think that all the time we have the consciousness choice, because, for example, there was this test with propaganda which was done, Uncle Sam and stuff like that, and they were testing actually people about this propaganda. And although at the beginning people didn't believe that stuff, they heard it. You can't turn off audio. You can close your eyes, you don't have to speak, but you can't turn off the audio. So you are listening to everything. And they realized, or the tests were showing, that although people at the beginning didn't believe the propaganda, 2 months, 3 months later, they realized, oh, I've heard it, so that's going to be true. So although you don't consciously choose that, there are influences which are influencing you and you don't even know about it. The same goes for the people you trust a lot. I think that Katka, were also talking about the story of a team who wasn't really liking you at some point. And again, they didn't consciously choose that they are gonna be negative, or that they want to disbelieve somebody. It's just that there were few people who influenced them, and they were not just thinking, because they were trusting them a lot. There is this trust between people, and you're like, okay, so you said it, my mom said it, my brother said it, my friends I know said it. I'm gonna believe it automatically, sort of, because yeah, we have the strong trust. I don't have a need to disbelieve this person, not to believe this person. So I believe that there is always somehow a subconscious way for you to that you are influenced, and it's not always your choice. It's good to stop and create the awareness whether you want to or not to, and then make the choice. But it's not always like that.
So I'm just wondering a bit, when you were telling the story about the Uncle Sam, does it influence people in all ages? Because I see that, of course, when I was 20, I was way more obliged to influencing. Anyone could influence me. But with the age and maturity level and education I get, etc., it's not that easy to let's say influence me. Even I see whatever advertisement, I'm like, I am pretty strong, let's say, against of those things. So I'm just wondering whether of course, we know it's much easier to manipulate younger people compared to the older, let's say. Or it was valid for everyone at that period.
I don't remember the exact
Age. Mhm.
age or the exact background of the study. But when you're talking that, yeah, you filter something out and you don't process advertisement or something like that. I think that it's because you are not looking for your identity anymore that much. Younger people are more obliged to be influenced because they are trying to create their own identity. They are forming themselves, creating their own values. So they are taking a lot. Plus, they are trying to run from their families or trying to separate from their own parents and create their own identity at the household. So anything what is outside is much more interesting than what's inside. So, my friend told me that's going to be more true than what my parents are talking to me because, So I think that there are multiple factors which are influencing you. Plus, for example, now social media, although you are saying like you are not checking the advertisement, Facebook is already processing or Instagram is already processing your choices, what you observe, and it picks you, this Katka likes this person a lot or these photos a lot. So we are going to give her more content about this or from this person. So you are influenced heavily, and that was actually part of the movie Social Dilemma. So that was a good movie to check about influencing and how it works on the social media.
So would you say that subconsciously you let people who have the same values as you influence you more?
I would agree with that statement. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If they have the same value, you trust them more because you are more alike, you're more similar to each other. So the trust is stronger, and when there is a trust, there is also this.
That means I need to be very careful of Collage because now he can manipulate me. Oh my
god! Has it actually ever happened to you that you actually let someone influence you, but when you look back, you thought like, I shouldn't have? Like so you thought someone is a good influence, but eventually you found out that they are really not.
I wouldn't say it this way. What I do remember when I was in elementary school, I wasn't a strong personality as I am now. And I let people to use me, or how I can say that is like when they sort of pick me, now you're gonna be my friend, and they I went with them to play, and then I don't know, after a certain period of time when their best friend finally came to senses, they sort of tossed me away, and then they were with that person, and I let that happen quite often. And maybe that's where my mistrust into women comes from. The guys never did this to me, only the girls. So I never understood it.
I don't know if I can answer this question.
Okay, so let's move like in work. How would you, if you are a leader, how would you use this knowledge, or how would you use influence, maybe not your own, maybe influence of others on your team?
I cannot reveal my secrets, woman. What if I become a manager again?
Would you use it, Katka?
I did use it, girl.
Okay.
You have to. You have no other choice. Because it's either through motivation, through careness, that you care of the people. You're still influencing, whether you like it or not. You are still whether it's a positive, negative manipulation. Because if you want people to perform, you need to behave in a certain way to have the performance better, or even to create a good atmosphere in the team, all of that. Because all of those things then help better performance.
Mhm.
And if you want to be a good leader, you're applying all of this knowledge. At the end, if you want to summarize it, it is an influencing, it is a manipulation.
Well, we have two words, right? Manipulation and influencing, or yeah. So where would you say the line is, or would you say one of them is bad
For
and one of them
me,
is better?
influencing is different than manipulation. For me, manipulation is when you play a game with somebody.
Ah,
When you know that the outcome of the action is going to be something you want for your own benefit,
Okay.
and you are not going to tell it to the other person. So you literally play the game of, I'm smarter or I'm better than you or something like that. While influencing could be conscious or subconscious, but it's about, but it's more, for my language, it's authentic. So
Okay.
influencing is not that I'm playing a game with you. This is who I am. These are my values. This is what we are going to do together or not.
And
that's it.
transparency. Okay,
Yep.
fair enough. See, that's always when I need to bring these words out, because then collage puts me in the right corner, because it's same like what I thought about the word procrastination, which I understood it differently. Then collage explains. I'm like, okay, now I understand. We can move on.
I did explain that.
And you, sorry, Danush,
Oh.
sorry.
This is
I
how you
gave
make
the-
a name.
Gave the
For yourself.
credit to collage. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
To answer your question, Baruch, about how I use my knowledge when it comes to influencing in work, I think that since I entered, or anybody enters the work, they are influencing others and others are influencing you. You together create the culture of the company because you build the value. So it's about how you adapt to the situation, how you adapt to the culture, and how you don't adapt, because you might be more positive than the others, or you might be more creative than the others, but the values may not be there in that culture. Maybe the company is like, okay, just copy paste, or the companies, on the other hand, the totally overworking creative people. It depends. So I see that you are influencing them, their standards, and they're influencing you back. So for me, influence in the company or in the is the same as you are at home. So it's all the same, and it's up to you whether you want to choose what, if you want to create two personalities or have just one, at the end.
Or I would say, don't do a job that you absolutely hate, because then you're influencing with your hatred the others as well. And that will be all for today. So from my side, annyeong.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. Ciao.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.